Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, here with my course manager and co-host, Rufus Carpenter. As most of you know, Rufus and I have created this forum where you can discuss trials and triumphs in past and present relationships. We encourage everyone to share, speak their truth, and speak as much or as little as they would like. And just a few housekeeping rules. Please mute your phones, your devices until you're ready to speak to avoid any background noise, as well as let's be respectful and allow everyone to speak their truth and get their comments in. Now allow Mr. Carpenter to give you a little bit, a little history about his background.
Good evening, everybody. Like she said, my name is Rufus Carpenter, and I come to this space a little different than most. My journey started as a little kid in Virginia in a house, 3-bedroom house with 14 siblings and mother and father. So 16 of us in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And if you know anything about sleeping with 3 or 4 of your siblings, and one is an occasional bedwetter, you learn a thing or two about the human essence and the connection of the human essence. So, with that said, that was a beginning. That was the beginning of learning what it was to have relationships, and especially family type relationships. But it didn't stop there. I was married 27 years, and if you married for 27 years, you learn a thing about trust. You learn a thing about compromise. You learn a lot about forgiveness of yourself and the other. You learn a lot about grace. And also you learn what not necessarily the things for a deeper relationship, but these are the things to help you get through and to uphold your end of the union of what we call a spouse, a husband, or a wife. So I've learned that there. But my path didn't stop there. I joined the United States military, and one of my jobs in military was a race and human relation leader, where I had the responsibility going to any military unit, and I'd be the first person on the scene whenever they have a race or relationship type issue, and I would do what's called an intake form. And with the intake form, I would help decide what level of responsibility or resources we had toward solving those issues. So my background in relationship field is very diverse. But one of the things I'm here for tonight is to uphold the male image of the conversation. Because Reset the Healthy Relationship course from Glenda's Get It and Go designed Sunday night at 9 container as a community self-help group where you have like 20 of your girlfriends in your living room. And the Sunday night is after 9, the kids are in bed, and you got 20 of your girlfriends in there with you. You guys are relaxed. You open a you open a bottle of wine, you have 1 or 2 glasses of wine, everybody's feeling good. And everybody wants to share about their relationship issues, the challenges, as well as the breakthroughs. And the reason why you do that, because a lot of times when you tell your side of the story or tell what you went through, the sister beside you, she realized that if you can go through it and have a breakthrough, she can too. And plus, sometimes just saying the things you went through get the monkey off your back, and you realize to God be glory, you made it through, and you get to talk about it as a testimony. So tonight is a great night. We have an excellent topic tonight. The topic tonight is something that we kind of kicked it around the last couple of weeks. We were talking about other relationship issues, and this issue kept coming up. So we decided tonight, let's talk about this firsthand. And I'm gonna let Glenda announce the topic for tonight. Glenda?
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Carpenter. Tonight's topic is a barn burner again. It can resonate with a lot of individuals on the call tonight. The topic is the illusion of a perfect man. When he's maintaining a fake image, how do you know the real him? And I'm going to repeat it one more time, just in case you didn't get it the first time. The illusion of a perfect man. When he's maintaining a fake image, how do you know the real him? All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for everyone that decided to show up tonight. Again, as always, we know that it is a huge sacrifice to join us every Sunday night at 9. We really appreciate it. And we just want to always say thank you and acknowledge your attendance. Again, welcome to Sunday night at 9. Now I want to pause here because as women, we carry so much strength, resilience, and vision. Many of us have been told to hold it together, to love through storms, and to carry the weight of perfection ourselves. So when we meet someone who seems flawless, polished, charming, strong, it can feel like a dream, but often what looks perfect is really just performance. This conversation matters because love cannot grow in illusions. A relationship built on performance is fragile. But when truth steps into the room, that's where intimacy and trust are born. Tonight, we'll uncover how to recognize when a man is maintaining. Now, again, I'll say again, maintaining a false image, how to look beyond the mask, and most importantly, how to honor your own worth by expecting authenticity. This isn't just about dating or even marriage. It's about empowerment. It's about making sure we as women are not settling for masks, but creating space for real, vulnerable, lasting love. So let's get comfortable. Let's get honest. Let's lean into tonight's discussion because perfection isn't an illusion, but authenticity. Authenticity. That's where real love lies. Okay, Mr. Carpenter.
Oh, that was a mouthful there, Coach Glenda. Uh, that and as you were talking, I was thinking, and I had a chance to look back and reflect back on some of our past episodes. Before we open the floodgates, everybody jumping in because I know there's going to be a lot of controversy. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of comments. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty. And tonight's going to be a good topic because a lot of times when we talk about what is a man, the real man, the perfect man, especially in a relationship with you, and you know what you bring to the table, and a lot of times you're hoping as ladies, I know a lot of times ladies hoping that the other person on the other end of the spectrum or other end of a relationship is all they dreamed and hoped for. So it's sometimes it makes it easier for a man to kind of pull the wool over your eyes because a lot of time women go in with the idea, man, I've been waiting for this guy. I finally found who I want. I finally found my Prince Charming. I finally found this person. Oh, I'm just so elated and just so happy to have this person in my life, and everything seemed perfect out the gate. Man, this guy can't do no wrong. You have love in your heart and your eyes, and this guy's standing tall, handsome, statuous. So, so right there, I'm gonna put a pin in it right there and put the kickstand down. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the topic is the illusion of a perfect man when he's maintaining a fake image. How do you know the real him? As a matter of fact, do you look for the real him, or you just drift away in a Calgon moment? What is it? Glenda, you want to say anything else before I go any further? Because I don't want to get too far in this until everybody kind of get the flavor of where we're gonna go with this tonight.
Well, the only thing I want to start off by saying that most of the time in the beginning, it's all talk. People, talk a good game, but you have to wait it out for them to be able to back it all up. So while you were talking, that's the first thought that came to my mind. I know that, they start out strong in the gate, start out strong out the gate, but then as you continue to talk to them, things start to change. Your morals, values, and the things that you were really looking for they seem to be far and in between. But like, he started out right, but then he kind of fell by the wayside by the third or fourth, maybe even the 6th month. So then you start to reevaluate your friendship or the situationship and say, okay, so I mean, I'm not really dating him. I'm just talking to him. So how should I proceed? Proceed with caution and continue to pay attention to everything that they're saying, because it may have hit that 6 month mark where you're like, maybe, maybe not, but it can go straight down here shortly after that for the next 6 months.
Well, let's before we get where you at, Glenda, because you were giving us a whole rundown from A to Z. We're still in on the landing strip. We haven't took off yet. So
Okay.
let's ladies help me out, and gentlemen, because we have quite a few gentlemen on the line tonight, so we can really have some fun with this. How is it possible? Let's first go into this. How is it possible that a woman can be I'm not gonna say fooled. How is it possible that a woman don't have the what how do I want to say this? How is it
Insight.
possible that a man can how the relationship of you meeting somebody brand new? How is it possible that this is the setup is set up so a man can actually have a false front? You know
Um,
what let you talk, Sharon. I just want to put this last part because I'm gonna forget it if I don't. What
okay.
what are what are some of the things that works in that man's favor when he first meet you that he can put on the false front? All right, Sharon, you got it.
Okay. Okay. It's easy because a woman pretty much try to take a person at face value. You know, if a man is interested in her, she believes what he's saying because that's her first impression of him. But like you said, as time go on, you realize the real them. You know, I prefer a man to just be straight up from the beginning, regardless of whether it's gonna hurt my feelings or not. Just be straight up so
Absolutely.
I know what I'm getting into or if I even want to get involved.
True. I agree.
Okay.
And I think also with men, when you start out the gate, a lot of times they pay attention to you. If you come off as someone they really want to be with, whether it based off of your goods and services and how they can benefit from you, I think that they will try to, try to put on a front to make themselves seem like they're on the same page as you, they want the same things as you, but in reality they can't really keep up, or they're really not where you are, not even 10% of where you are, because it's like this is the type of person I want in my life, but how can I grasp her or grab her? Because if she knows that I'm in between jobs, I haven't held a full-time position in 3 years, she may not want to entertain me. And that could be true because you're not stable. So with that being said, you have to take into consideration a lot of men, they feed off what they want to be with. If I start talking to someone and I come off as if, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I like, and say they're already into me because they're like attracted to me, they're gonna try to play with my feelings and emotions to be something that there really isn't. And then they're going to wait and see how it's going to play out towards the end to see if they can get in where they fit in. Because that has happened numerous of times with me. And I'm like, as time progressed, I realized you're talking a whole bunch of beans to me. I can't do nothing with you. I mean, you're nowhere near, you're not even on the same level as I am. You talk the good game out the gate, but you can't back any of it up. You're not bringing enough to the table.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to comment about that before we
All
get
right.
too far the road?
But listen, I do want to say, Andre put a couple of things in the chat. The first thing he put in the chat, I think the waiting in and out goes both ways. Like women say they want sex, but they feel weird when he is not hitting on them.
Oh wait, oh that's there, Andre. I got to decipher that one. I did don't want sex. I was going to say we say they want sex. I guess I was going to say I want to be in that group. Okay, so
I would like to say.
wait,
I
well,
would like to say.
okay, go ahead, Pierre. Then we'll let Andre say because I think Glenda put more in Andre's comments in Andre's text than he put in there. But go ahead, Pierre.
Oh, okay. You see, we're not able to observe accurately because we we are all flawed. You know. So our yeah, what we see, uh, uh, we we should not trust uh, with our lives what we see, nor what we hear, because times just depending on what mood you're in, where your mind is, or you might hear things that are totally uh, not based on 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 reality. So uh, if if a lady starts to suspect a man who uh, appears to do the right thing, uh, you know, what they should do is appreciate that, in the meantime, while he's doing the right thing, is appreciate it, because what could she be doing that could be turning him off?
Okay.
So,
Okay. You finished, sir?
yes.
Okay. All right. He raised some good points because he said all of us are flawed, which is true. And he had a point that says trust, trust with whoever you with, you got to trust your life with them, because you're really playing with your life. Because this day and time, it's not just with issues of finances and stuff. Now people are killing people now. And now people, if I can't have it, nobody else is, and all this kind of stuff. And then, you got to be careful. You have diseases out there and stuff like that. And now they talk about soul ties. So there's a lot out there to be thinking about. But Pierre said something that helps this conversation along because he said we're all flawed. So a lot of times when a guy sees a young lady, and Glenda said that the guy's already kind of into her a little bit. So if we all flawed and the guy's into you a little bit and he wants to make the best impression to attract you or to be a part of you, would sometime he would add a little fluff?
Of
Would
course.
would he or even she wouldn't
Of
she
course.
wouldn't she put her best foot forward?
Correct.
For like when a lady when she go get her nails done and her eyebrows plucked and all this stuff and she get her hair do right and wear and get with a girlfriend say which outfit looks the best on me, isn't you know isn't that kind of similar? I mean,
But some of that is routine maintenance, sir.
okay. All right. I
Well,
guess the guy
well,
routine
well,
line.
I know a lady. I know a lady who has no routine maintenance.
So I guess the ladies have routine maintenance and the guys have routine lies, huh? So they meet in the middle. But this is an interesting topic because a lot of times societal pressures on a man because women a lot of times women have their impression of what the man they want. They in their mind this guy's without spot, this guy's without blemish, this guy is heads and shoulders above everybody else, this guy's as smooth, he's debonair, because if she's gonna give herself to somebody, she's looking for the top, she's going to want the cream of the crop.
Correct.
So if her expectations are already above the standard, so is that inviting the guy to step up? Is that inviting the guy to maybe add a little here and there?
No, it's not.
Okay, help me out, ladies, and let's talk. Let's open this thing and let's talk. We can talk now. We all know how this thing is gonna go tonight. Let's talk. What are your ladies? What are your thoughts?
Like I said a few minutes ago, a person's first impression or first conversation on a mutual level, on a respectful level, should be honest. I mean, even if the other person don't like it. Like, let's say you run into someone and they say, "Well, okay, I'm looking for a good friend," and I say, well, "What do you mean by good friend? What specify good friend?" Because either I'm looking for the same thing or I'm not, and I say that. But on the same token, they think that they can either change your mind, or that's when they start that phoning and stuff to try to get you swayed toward the way they're thinking. That's how I feel.
Okay. All right. Any other conversation on this? In any
Yeah, yes, yes.
Go ahead, dear.
I, I, I met a lady a few years ago who approached me. She approached me, was a little intimate with me, got me all excited, and so I thought that we're beginning to build something. And then I learned months after that no, it was just a casual meeting. Now, wasn't that deceitful or no?
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it. If did she gain anything, or was she going after anything when she gave you that false impression that she wanted to go deeper? Did it make you do anything different than you would do, or did it make you did it bring you up to a point where you wanted to meet the challenge?
Oh, okay. So there was a purpose.
Okay, all right. So yeah. Okay, so you met that answer. There was a purpose. She did it for a purpose, because when a man does that, when a man go out beyond and try to portray who he isn't a little bit more in who he is, it is some goal. It is some net goal there, or some things he wants. I'm not saying should be a used car salesman and try to sell everything completely wrong, but
right.
sometimes the good woman will make you raise your game. I tell you, let's talk. Let's go more into the study guide, and then we'll come back into this. So the study guide is kind of unique. The study guide kind of tells us why does the illusion exist? And the first thing it says, social pressure. It's that men often has to project that they're strong, have that they have health and wealth, and because that's that confidence they need going into a relationship. Because most women don't want a broken down, or don't want a man that works hard every day and struggle, and then he can't keep his eyes open when he's on a date because he's so tired from the work he's been doing all week, or he wears the same shirt twice a week because he don't get a chance to do laundry. It's a lot going on here, because a lot of times if you meet a man that take care of himself, unless he has a pretty good system or support, he's juggling things. So when we talk about that, so society, next is fear of vulnerability, fear of being vulnerable with a woman. Because a lot of women, first thing women say, he a punk. He's this, he's that. Because they, when you start telling your truth and start, hey, look, this, that, they don't want, because you think you're weak. He's weak. You're a good man. So so he can't be vulnerable, because a lady will pick you apart. I remember once. And I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole for a minute. So give me just 2 minutes, and I'll be back into this. I remember when I was in Orlando, and I was dating in the Orlando area, and and I was a good guy. And most of the ladies there wanted the thugs, the hoods, the guys that ride the motorcycles, and the guys that don't have a job, the guys that want to fight, be in the club. And I worked every day.
Right.
I worked every day, had a beautiful job. I was holding down, but I was competing against the thugs. So, and I was just being a simple guy that worked hard, made a good living. You know, I tried to be nice. I tried to, you know, be respectful. You know, my mom taught me to say yes, ma'am, no, sir. Those kind of things. And the thugs were beating me out.
Yep. Yep.
So help me out, ladies. Help me out. What are some of the things that, ladies, what are some of the things you noticed when you found out? What are some of the red flags that told you that this man was a fake, that he wasn't who he was, that he wasn't who he portrayed to be? What are
Put
some,
one word in
Can
the
I
chat.
say something? Oh,
who's that?
when a
Somebody,
man,
two people want to talk. Somebody.
oh, I'm sorry. What about a man that doesn't have no desire or want nothing decent for themselves? Do they expect a woman want to follow that role behind them?
I don't. Somebody want to answer that other than me?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, Pierre said he don't think so. Women shouldn't follow.
Yeah.
Pierre said he don't think a woman should follow him. But now my question is, how would you even know a man that don't want nothing for himself? Because he don't want nothing for himself. How he gonna talk to you?
You can pick up on that based off their actions and what they say. It doesn't take long, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, for me, you have to pay attention to behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you have to do a lot of communicating with the other person, because it will come out. You know, people talk a good game out the gate, but they have to be consistent with it. And within a short period of time, I guarantee you, 6 months or less, that stuff will start to unfold.
Okay.
And I've seen it happen numerous of times, and I started doing pushback. I was like, yeah, no more hot meals for you.
Okay. Okay. What's the path to a real man? What are some of the things, what are some of the signs that, ladies, that you know when you with somebody, you have a real man? What are some of the things you notice that would say that he's a real man and he's a keeper?
Consistency.
Okay, consistency, that's
authentic.
And a man that values your feelings, your opinion.
Okay, I heard value, opinion. Who said authentic? Somebody said
Gigi.
okay, authentic. Okay, authentic. Okay. When you say authentic, Gigi, give me more than that. What do you mean authentic?
He's real. He tells the truth, and
Okay.
everything that he says lines up with what he does.
So
Correct.
it quantifies itself. His conversation quantifies itself in time. Awesome. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, okay. Space for honesty. You know, he encourages. It's beyond surface. Okay. These are great things. These are great signs. Now let's go into some of the illustrated examples.
Oh, Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Carpenter. Andre put in the chat, he said how his family speaks about him.
Oh wow, you're right. That is a good one, Andre. Thanks for putting that in there, sir. That's something we overlook. Sometimes people around you speak for.
Assuming you get to meet the family.
And that's what I responded back to Andre in the chat. I was like, you got to make sure he takes you around the family for you to actually see and you know, and hear the conversation about that. Because you know, if you heard the uncle or the sister-in-law say, oh, he's an old dirty somebody, you know, you start to think like, what did I just get myself into? But yes, I said the exact same thing to Andre in the chat.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Let's go into some of the illustrations because I want to get a lot out tonight on this one. When this is over with, I want everybody to know the difference between a real man and a fake man and what are some of the signs that you got, which one you got. All right, let's go into some of the illustrated examples, Glenda.
All right, we have the provider persona.
Ooh.
A man flaunts his job title, car, and financial generosity, but when the bills stack up, he's stressed and distant. His generosity was performance. he feared she wouldn't love him without money.
Yeah. Oh, ladies, have you guys ever challenged a man? Have you ever a man approach you and use money as his game?
Yes,
You guys ever seen that?
I've seen it.
Okay. Okay.
But money ain't everything if you're not paying the bills. Now I need your credit to be good.
I know that's right. You can say that again. Because I dated a lot of guys that had good jobs, but they didn't want to pay their bills. They like electronics and toys.
Yeah, I'm gonna want some things. So don't flaunt me with the money.
Remember you told me I need a whipping, Gigi?
You really do.
Or the ones,
You talking about the credit. You done went beyond what's in his pocket. You going to his reach, his ability to reach for.
She
I'm
don't
gonna
want
need
the man to
something.
put everything in her name.
or the ones that don't pay their bills.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we talked about that. So so that's some people think that's a turnoff, or that's always a sure winner with flaunting his cash and his position or his resources. Or could it be both?
What about when a woman talk about her cash and all her resources, and a man just try to make it on his own?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up, Johnny, because a lot of times now, ladies now are making in some cases more than men are making now. Society, this society now has opened the doors where women make great salaries now, sometimes more than a man. A lot of people feel like this is by design. A lot of people feel that this is not a coincidence. A lot of people feel that society has designed it where the Black woman can is making more than her counterpart, because that way it cheapens or it devalues the Black male in the household. So a lot of people saying this is not a fluke. It's by design. But that's not a conversation tonight. But now a lot of women make a lot more than men do now.
Yes,
I got a question.
Go ahead, Pierre.
and a few of them whose salary is more than the man, will use that as a whip.
Correct. And that's what society has have given the women that authority with the salary, that they can now dictate some of what goes on in their relationship, in the family, in the Black community.
Yep.
Yeah. So but that's another topic for another day, though. But Johnny, thanks for bringing that up, because a lot of women do make great salaries, and
Can I ask the question
yes, you can.
of the men on here? How many of you all could date a woman that made more money than you?
Me.
Put it in
I
chat.
can answer
Get
that
out
one.
loud.
I can answer
I have
that
no
one.
problem.
Well,
Actually, I've done that.
I can date a woman that makes more than me in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So can I.
With no issues.
With no
Thank
With
you.
no issues.
no
But,
issues.
but
Thank you
she's
for
the
your
one
honesty.
As a matter of
she's the one
fact, that would take some of the issues away.
Shoot. Matter of fact, I married a woman that makes more than I do.
Shoot. We gonna be
I
all
got my
friendly.
belt out.
I got a question though.
Go ahead.
My question is, does a man's credit defines whether he's a good man or not?
It doesn't define it, in my
No,
personal opinion.
no.
Well,
Let me explain what I was talking about. What I meant by
Go ahead, Gigi. Then I'll say what I'm gonna say.
what I meant by that is that if a man is leading off with his money and then he's stressing over it at the end of the week because he can't pay his bills, then that means that if we perhaps get together, then that he will spend in excess, and then his credit rate and everything else, we can't really build anything because he can't pay anything.
Correct.
So that's
what I
why I was going to ask this question a little different. I was going to ask him, would a man with bad credit, would he be a good long-term catch?
Well, the reason I asked that question because I can speak from experience. My credit ain't shit. Well, it wasn't point blank, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I'm 59 years old, and I always paid cash for everything that I got. So it's not that I had bad credit; I didn't have no established credit. So therefore, it's the same. Actually, it's worse than having bad credit. But I consider myself a damn good man. You understand? It ain't that I don't work and I don't pay bills. It's just I believe in God bless a child that got his own. And in my eyes, got your own mean you own what you got, not making payments on it because it's not yours. It's you and the finance company. That's been my philosophy all my life until this money I'm coming into. And because I'm making money now, it's like they advising me, it don't matter whether you got $1 million or $1 trillion, you still need credit. So I've been building my credit, but that didn't mean I was a bad person because I didn't have no credit.
Right. I mean, I get that, Mr. Keenum, and because of what you said, me personally, you have an explanation for your, for you not having good credit, or how they would say you don't have a lot of established credit. It's not like you have bad credit or good credit. You just don't have enough credit. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's the people that, they went out there and maxed out credit cards and just said, I'm not going to pay the bill. Those are the ones that I know that I was thinking. Those are the ones that came to mind when she had made the comment about the credit. Because I dated a guy, he allowed his children to max his credit card out, knowing that he didn't have a job to pay the bill. And I didn't understand that. I was like, so how was the credit card going to get paid? Well, I figured that out later, but my kids needed back to school clothes. That's not a necessity, but those are your kids and you can handle that how you want to handle it. But that wasn't the best thing, because later down the line, he ended up suffering for it because that credit card was on his credit report when he was trying to buy a house. So when you have an explanation for why something is going on and it's valid, most men and women, they can accept that and understand it, especially at our age. But when you don't have a good explanation as to why, like you made so many mistakes when you were wrong, when you were younger, and you never tried to correct them, then at my age, I'm like, well, if you're not trying to correct them and you've just been going through life with bad credit, do you own anything? How have you been maintaining? Those other questions will come up, but you have a good explanation as to why your credit is the way it is.
But it's just a matter of who you giving that explanation to, because a lot of,
Correct.
use my French, but a lot of black females don't give a flip whether you got a good explanation or it's a valid explanation. They
And
like
those are
bad
the ones you
credit,
need to
it's
talk to.
nothing. You understand? Because they looking at, like as someone said, how are you going to build with me if you can't go out and get nothing? You understand? Share the responsibility. I'm like, hey, let me put it this way. And even right now, I own 31 acres that's paid for. House, all vehicles paid for. I paid cash for it. Well, guess what? I'll show you right there that I'm responsible. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you got free money. Well, you ain't got to pay mortgage. You ain't got to pay a car note. You understand? But a lot of females don't look at that. All they look at, what if I want to go get something? How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? Save your damn money. Excuse my French. That's what I do.
Right. Correct. Correct.
Okay.
That's why I've always been used, because me, I want to own what I got. I don't want to sit down and be making payments on everything.
I
You
agree.
understand? I don't see that. When you pay something off, that frees up money every month, every week, or however you're making your payment. It frees it up. I ain't say not to make payments, but God bless a child that got his own. That's who shows
Okay.
who's the most successful
Okay.
in my book, anyway.
All right. What a blessing. All right, Glenda, next one.
All right. We have the romantic charmer. At first, he's flowers, dates, and love letters. But when asked about his goals or past, he avoids depth. He charms, masks a fear of inadequacy.
Have ladies, have any of you noticed, been approached by this guy before? Ladies, have any of you been approached by this guy before? I hear smiling, but I don't hear no answers. Okay.
I got one yes in the chat.
Okay, Sharon said yes. Okay, this is the old type. This is the old-fashioned romantic kind of guy. Come in with the flowers and the charmer and the love letters and stuff. You know, I guess now Texan then took that out. he really got to be old-fashioned now. With the nice polished suit, huh? Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, we have the social media king. His Instagram is polished, luxury shots, travel posts, always smiling. In private, though, he struggles with self-esteem and doesn't communicate his needs. Oh, wow.
Let's talk about this one, because remember last week I asked a question before we ended, and I was waiting till we got to this one before I get to the question. Social media. Today's social media, everything done on the internet. Remember last week when I asked everybody who would consider, at our age, who would consider social media as being a place to find a date, social websites.
You
and
said
I think
online dating?
Yeah, online dating. I think everybody but one said no. I think one said they would do online dating, and the rest of the people said they wouldn't. And this is one of the reasons why I said, and this is one of the reasons why I asked that question, because this one right here said his Instagram is polished, luxury shots, travel posts, always smiling. In private, though, he struggles with self-esteem and doesn't communicate his needs. And the reason why I say that, because a lot of times when you look at the online dating, a lot of guys and ladies too, but mostly guys, are experts with that. They're so professional with that that online dating, that you don't know what you're getting. And when you look at his posts and all this stuff, you're saying, man, this person is this and that. This person is so together. Where really, you've already set yourself up for a hard fall. It's remember back when we had the stages of romance and stages of relationship, and we said the honeymoon stage, intro stage, and the uncertainty stage, and the adjustment stage, and the commitment and the blitz stage. When you go on these online dating, a lot of time you get way up into that those stages. And you're so far because the person has pulled you in so deep on the online dating that in your mind we in love, we ready, we can do this thing. 3, 4, 5 months down the road, 6 months down the road, and then whenever you meet, man, already you got expectations. You know, you're so far in, you're so deep. And because you haven't had the chance to go through those stages of romance, and it makes a major difference. It makes a major difference. And that's why this social media part is that social media king is so important, ladies, as well as gentlemen, when you get somebody on on online dating. It could be a dangerous trap. It really could be. Now, I'm not saying all social online dating is bad. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, online dating has come on board and has shortened or has taken out a lot of the normal steps that you do in normal romance. Because there's 5 stages you go through in a relationship. Social media has cut it down to 2 stages. You like them, you like them, you go deep. Don't like them, you go to the next one. Go ahead. Were you saying something, Kingdom?
I was asking, what's the 2 stages?
I just you like them or don't like them. If you like them,
No.
you go deep in. If you don't like them, you go to the next one.
Well, I was the one that said yes, I would do it because social media is a communication source. And you can get to know a person honestly, and you can have the romance in it because you can still send flowers and whatever through the social media. You can still do that. You can still have romance through that as well. Because I'm a living witness of it for the simple fact my wife and I travel back and forth to Florida.
Mhm.
That's where she basically lives. But she comes there. But in the midst of me being up there, we still got romance and stuff going on. The flowers being sent, what we call tea every day. You still can do that. You can still get to know a person. And matter of fact, to me, it might be a little easier,
Mhm.
cheaper, and safer to do online because you're doing the same thing as you do in person when you meet people. You just ain't got the dinner where you spending money, but you still getting to know a person. It's all in how you perceive and how you take it and what you give and what you receive from it. We all had bad experience with online dating, I'm quite sure at one time or another. But then we also had plenty of bad taste in meeting people in person dating. So what's the difference?
Well, and that's why I said not all online dating is bad. I didn't say I didn't 100% bad, but I'm saying the chance for a setup is highly likable in the online dating.
Yes,
I've heard so many horror stories, and I won't repeat them, but I've heard so many horror stories. I've known people that've been long term with people on online dating, and when it's said and done, at the end of the day, it was a facade, smokescreen.
Well, what's the difference in me coming to you and I'm taking you out every day? I'm romancing you every day, doing the same thing in person and not online. And turns out I'm the biggest fraud in the world because I'm just trying to do one thing and accomplish one thing.
Yeah, but if we're doing it face to face, I have more discernment on my corner. I have avenues of testing the water. I have more ammunition, and I have more boundaries that I can apply.
It
Uh,
all applies the same. In my book, that is, from my
I think
experience.
Pierre want to speak. Go ahead, Pierre.
yes, an experience uh, I had bought some flowers for, for a lady, you know, and her response was shocking. She said to me, why you spend your money on dead things? So bad, and that hurt me so much, But I didn't say that,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right, Mr. Kingdom. We all have bad experiences, whether it's online or face to face. But in I guess in my way of thinking, I have more control of my discernment face to face than I would over a phone or
I
online
think,
or through
I
typing or
think it's
texting.
based on the individual themselves and how they
Mm-hmm.
perceive themselves. For example, you got some people that falls in love at a flip of a switch. Some people, it takes a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If you one
Mm-hmm.
of them type that fall in love in a heartbeat, shoot, you don't matter whether you're online or you're in person, it's gonna be the same ordeal. But if you
Okay.
one of them that starts out, as they say, with a friendship, knowing what you want,
Mm-hmm.
then it shouldn't matter which way it go,
Mm-hmm.
online or in person.
Okay. Okay. Let's do number 4 right quick, Lynn.
All right. All right. Number 4, the I never argue guy. He avoids conflict so much that
Elan.
he avoids conflict so much that he seems perfect, calm, agreeable, easy. But in reality, he's bottling emotions until resentment builds. Mm.
I'm half of that. I'm gonna confess right out the gate. I'm half of that.
I know someone, I know a guy that's similar to that, but I don't think he bottles his emotions until resentment builds.
What's Sharon? What's you say, Sharon? Okay, is there a way, any way of avoiding truth? What's saying? Explain to Sharon. I was trying to read
No,
it.
no, no. What I was saying was, or is that their way of avoiding the truth? Like, don't call themselves, don't like conflicts or none of that kind of stuff, but they can't never explain anything.
This dude
They're
I know, he
sharp.
can say this
They're
stuff.
wolves.
I used to
what did
avoid conflict and arguing because I just don't like it. So I just accept whatever. Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right, and keep going. But then it got to the point when I learned myself and learned how to love myself. Yeah, that shit don't work because it build up and that cup runs over quick.
Okay, but what I was trying to say is, let's say you have a question about something, or want to express your feelings, and you expect some kind of like remark back, and they go, "Oh, well, why you got to always complain or argue?" That is not an answer. To me, that is avoiding the
Yeah.
situation or not want to talk about it because it's some truth to what you're saying. They can never explain nothing. They always say, "Well, it's self-explanatory," or or I don't feel like talking about it because it's going to start an argument. Yeah, forget that mess.
I agree with Andre. They're a loose cannon.
I didn't see what Andre must put it in the chat because I didn't see it.
Of course, you know he did. He did. He said so. He might be a loose cannon.
Then it might be good that he don't say nothing.
No,
Maybe he just want to avoid an argument.
no. He needs to. He needs to talk
How
it
come?
out. He needs to
How
talk
come
it out.
it's how come it's considered an argument if the woman says something, but if the man wants an explanation from them, is let's talk about it. Is that considered an argument? That's funny to me.
Well, do you really know a man if you've never seen him mad?
I guess you got a point there.
Mm-mm.
I guess you got a point there. Because I've learned to count it all joy. So a lot of times when stuff get to the point where I ball over, I've learned to give grace and count it all joy. And I'll ask myself, if is it worth going further in this conversation with that issue? And I'll ask myself, if there's more value, just shut the heck up and let it go. I'll take that route. If it's more value,
You mean more value? Is it more valuable to the person that asked the question or want to talk about something, or is it more valuable to you to not want to answer it?
at the moment, at the if I assess at the moment, it's more value to the moment to both of us.
Yes, and it's a
And it
temporary.
also, I feel it depends on the question that's being asked too, because a lot of times you got to understand a person and then understand the person. Say, for example, if you and I are sitting there and I know you and your reaction to certain things, and you ask me a question that I know is going to upset you, but the answer I'm going to give you, I'm going to keep my damn mouth shut.
Amen.
And then you're going to get even madder because I didn't speak.
Right, right.
But then sometimes you ask the question, we answer the question, and then you get pissed in. So why the hell you ask the question in the first place, knowing you're gonna be mad and don't want the answer?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Kingdom. That's a good one.
Yeah, he
Okay,
did a
I'm
good
just
one.
being for
what
real.
about what about if you're not asking a question, you're expressing your feelings on a certain thing, the item, or a certain topic or whatever?
Well, there
And
again, it
Everybody has
depends
an
on the
opinion.
topic. It depends on the topic. Because if you're expressing your opinion on certain things and you already know how you are, I'm gonna give you my opinion back on the situation. And which one you rather I do? You rather me give my opinion knowing it's gonna make you that much mad or upset or feel
well,
Andre,
like
so
that's
you
you're
can get hit
sad?
I
upside
would
well,
need
the
your opinion.
It's
well,
a
that's what
50-50
I would need
chance
your
now.
opinion because that's why I asked the question.
exactly.
Okay, so in your case, it's understandable, but 90% of the females, first of all, I can honestly say they ask questions And as they say, you ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer.
When y'all get finished,
But
Andre,
I
explain
was
that one,
always told
Andre.
there's no stupid
When
question.
Andre, when they
There
give
are
you a
stupid
moment, explain that when you just put in Andre, because that's the truth right there. Andre, explain the last text if you don't mind, please, sir.
I was saying, I think to Mr. Kingdom's point, I think that when the woman asks the question, while she may be asking a question, I think she's really expecting validation.
Validation how?
Like, I think I think sometimes when women are asking the question, they're not really wanting your true answer. They're wanting you to tell them how, I guess, that they're right and then validating them, I guess.
No, I think that depends on the question that they ask. If they asking
No,
a question or expressing their feelings, then they really want you to hear them or
But
tell them something about
Andre.
why. Say,
But
go
what
ahead.
Mr. Kingdom just said when he gives his opinion, they get mad. That's why I was saying maybe they didn't really want your opinion. They just wanted you. I guess it's maybe like a tricky
Andre.
situation.
Depends on the question itself, I think.
Yes.
Andre. I'm gonna answer your question for you. I may try to explain your question. Here's the situation. A lot of times, a female asks a question or give an opinion. They're looking for a specific answer that the other don't give. They can give a bunch of answers, but it
Give
ain't
the
the answer
key.
they're looking for. So now that's gonna lead up to another question.
No, I don't think so.
Andre.
It's about
Oh,
truth
that's
to me.
done happened plenty of times.
Oh
Okay,
Oh
let
yeah.
me
my
give you a
God.
perfect example. Let me give you a perfect example. Let's say I say something like,
That's not what I asked you.
let, let me give you a perfect example, Mr. Kingdom. Let's say I ask you, let's say we was husband and wife or dating or whatever, and I tell you something like, how come you always seems to feel this way about this or do this certain thing when I tell you how it makes me feel? Or that, and then you don't answer it, or you holler, well, I don't want to argue, or why are you asking me that? I don't feel like answering questions, or let's just talk later. That kind of mess.
Sometimes it depends on where their mindset is at the time that you
So,
ask that question.
an excuse. Okay.
If my, huh?
I said that's an excuse to me.
No, I'm not giving an excuse. I'm just showing you facts. Because let's say I just got home from a hard day's a long day of work. Then
Understand
you
that?
ask me that question. Well, my mindset is still stuck on the hard day that I had. So therefore, that could lead into a, let me
Oh,
see, I ain't gonna say serious conversation, but it could lead into another conversation which I'm not ready to tackle. So
okay.
I
Now
would say, huh?
I understand that concept, but what's suppose that's always the situation. I don't care if it's morning, noon, or night. That's you
Well,
come
now
up with
that's a
something like
different
that.
story. That's a red flag right there because you ain't got no communication skills. So you need to move
Exactly.
on anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
That's a
Answer. Good
repeated
answer.
situation.
Good
Well,
answer.
well, start reeling this in, Glenda, because right now we because it's I think right now we got a lot left, but right now I think we've got the gist of what a night's about.
Okay. Well, does anyone have any more comments before we bring tonight's live open discussion to an end? Any last words? Anybody want to get their last truth in?
Well,
are
I
we
just
going
like to
to?
get,
Go ahead,
Yes.
Pierre.
Are we going to continue this next week?
Pierre, we couldn't hear you.
Let's extend. Let's extend this.
Oh,
Well,
hmm?
Let's continue.
that's a Glenda decision. She the boss lady.
So,
No, I
you coming back next week, Mr. Pierre?
yes, yes.
Okay. We can do a part two, sir.
I just want
Okay.
to say I appreciate this tonight because it's bringing out my, let me see, my psychiatrist part, my
Uh,
communication part. And I just want to be enlightening from my perspective and my experience that I've dealt with. And that's why a lot of things that I say is on point, or I feel is on point. It might not be for one, but it is for the other. Thank y'all.
Oh, you're so
Okay.
welcome.
You're
Anytime. Thank you
welcome.
for sharing. I
Huh?
think
Okay. All right, Glenda, you wanna take us home with
You're
the
welcome.
I guess I guess do the first close. Do the
Okay, no
first
problem.
close. The first one.
Yes, sir. Yes, boss man.
No,
All
you're the
right.
boss lady.
All right. Tonight we pull back the curtain on the illusion of perfection. A man may wear the mask of charm, success, or flawlessness, but it isn't that quite unpolished moment that the truth lies. Sisters, we deserve a love that breathes, a love that doesn't need to pretend. Perfection is an illusion, but authenticity, that's where intimacy begins. As we leave tonight, remember your worth doesn't require performance, and neither should your partner's love. Choose real over perfect always. Y'all have a good night. See you next
Good
week.
night, everybody. See you next week,
Have
everybody.
a
Night,
good
good
night.
night, good night.
Have a good night.
Honestly, tonight. You guys are awesome as usual.
Good night.
You too.
Night.
You too. Thank you.
Good night.